They said Inoue and his team had crossed a line. In previous fights, the accusations went, they wrapped his hands with too much tape against the skin, layering it with gauze and more tape until it formed something close to a cast. To his critics, it was cheating, an edge disguised as ritual. Some demanded his wraps be banned, and tempers flared behind the scenes. For Fulton's camp, the matter was non-negotiable. If the issue wasn't resolved, they said, their fighter wouldn't enter the ring. But Inoue didn't flinch. The Japanese prodigy had heard it all before. His eyes stayed cold, locked on the prize that would cement his legacy. At stake was his first fight against a reigning unified world champion, a moment that could define his generation. And across the ring stood Stephen "Cool Boy" Fulton, the undefeated, slick American, bigger, longer, and, in the eyes of many, the better boxer. The whispers before the bell were clear. The fight would be the night Inoue's myth met its end. Fulton spoke with the confidence of a man who believed he knew the truth. "He's too small for me," he said. "Too short. I see myself wiping him out clean. The hype is only around him because he's Japanese doing these things." It wasn't arrogance alone. It was conviction born from hard fights and hard lessons. But when the first bell rang, when the gloves touched and the air filled with tension, none of that mattered. The opening exchanges told the story. A huge right hand from the monster cracked through Fulton's guard. He staggered backward, trying to steady himself, but Inoue was already on the hunt. The arena roared as the challenger pressed forward with machine-like precision, chasing down the champion who had promised to expose him. Naoya Inoue had already conquered 3 weight divisions. Since that unforgettable war with Nonito Donaire in the World Boxing Super Series, he had been on an unrelenting tear, a string of knockouts that left no doubt about his place among the elite. He dismantled future champion Jason Maloney with a brutal right hand that echoed through the empty arena during the pandemic. He dominated Donaire in their rematch, a one-sided destruction that turned their first epic encounter into a mere prelude. When he unified the Bantamweight division, claiming all 4 major belts, it looked effortless. And when he faced Paul Butler to complete his run as undisputed champion, he delivered a clinical performance before closing the show in the 11th round. Inoue became the first Asian fighter ever to hold all 4 world titles in a division. But the monster was still hungry. His eyes were already fixed on a new mountain, the super bantamweight throne at 122 pounds, ruled by Stephen Fulton. Fulton wasn't just another belt holder. He was the undefeated king of the division, known for his slick movement, sharp jab, and supreme boxing IQ. He earned his WBO title in a grueling war with Angelo Leo, standing toe-to-toe with a brawler and beating him at his own game. Then came the unification against Brandon Figueroa, a relentless pressure fighter with bad intentions. In a Fight of the Year contender, Fulton dug deep and emerged victorious, unifying the WBO and WBC titles. When the call came to face Inoue, he didn't hesitate. The champion would travel to Japan, defend his crown on foreign soil, and prove that size and skill would triumph over hype. As fight week unfolded, tension filled the air. Fulton remained composed in front of the cameras, but carried quiet irritation behind closed doors. The whispers about Inoue's hand wraps resurfaced, fueling suspicion and conflict. "This is not something I'm making up," Fulton's camp insisted. "I have proof." They accused Inoue's team of using excessive tape directly on the skin before the gauze, creating an illegal cast-like structure. Fight night came, and the inspection room became a theater of scrutiny. Fulton's trainers hovered over every detail of Inoue's wraps, eyes fixed, watching each layer of tape and gauze. But everything was within the rules, legal, clean, and fair. The accusations faded, replaced by the electric hum of inevitability. There would be no excuses. Only truth and pain. The arena lights dimmed, the crowd roared, and the fighters made their walks. Fulton entered with swagger, the American champion thousands of miles from home. Inoue walked slowly, face calm, expression unreadable, surrounded by the rhythmic chants of his people. From the first bell, Inoue moved with calculated aggression. There was no cautious feeling-out process, just sharp jabs, perfect balance, and relentless pressure. Fulton tried to establish his rhythm, but Inoue's timing was immaculate. His jab found the target first, again and again, splitting the guard, digging to the body, then snapping back up to the head. The American, known for his jab, was suddenly being beaten at his own weapon. Every movement was precise. Inoue would jab to the ribs, then pivot, feint high, and land a right cross before Fulton could reset. The speed was blinding. The power reverberated through the crowd with each impact. Fulton backpedaled, circling, trying to find space, but Inoue cut off the ring with frightening ease. By the third round, the champion's confidence began to fade. His jab fell silent, and his footwork slowed. The composure that defined him was eroding under the storm. Inoue wasn't just overpowering him, he was outboxing him, beating the boxer at his own craft. The commentary team saw it too. They noted how Inoue's jab to the body set up every other shot and how his footwork created angles that Fulton couldn't anticipate. Fulton's hand stayed home, hesitant to throw, aware of what came back when he did. Every exchange carried danger. Every mistake was punished instantly. Inoue's jab, short and sharp, pierced through the guard and snapped Fulton's head back. His combinations flowed, two to the body, one up top, then another hook before stepping out of range. The timing was surgical. The rhythm, unpredictable. Fulton was trapped in the middle distance, frozen between offense and defense, unwilling to commit and unable to escape. By the fourth round, blood trickled from Fulton's nose. He was being beaten to every punch, his body marked by the constant stabbing jabs and right hands. Inoue's confidence grew with each exchange. He began to mix in uppercuts, body shots, and hooks, attacking from every angle. The crowd could sense the momentum building. Between rounds, Fulton's corner urged him to move more, to use his legs, to lure Inoue in, and to counter. But Inoue's footwork and speed made even that impossible. He was too quick to cut off escape routes, too precise to be baited. In the middle rounds, Fulton tried to push forward, to change the rhythm, and to fight on the front foot. For brief moments he found success, landing a clean right hand, digging to the body, but every time he landed, Inoue answered twice as hard. You could hear the thud of Inoue's shots even through the gloves, each one carrying a different kind of authority. By the sixth round, Fulton's famed movement was gone. His legs looked heavy, his timing disrupted. He tried to re-establish his jab, but Inoue's speed closed the distance before the punch could even land. The challenger dictated every exchange, controlling range, pace, and power. Inoue's face remained calm, his eyes sharp. He wasn't rushing. He knew he had broken Fulton's rhythm. The jab continued, high, low, then high again. The right hand followed like a whip. The monster was dismantling the unified champion with precision and patience. Fulton tried to answer with flurries, short bursts of activity, but they did little to slow the tide. Inoue's defense, subtle and efficient, caught or slipped most of what came his way. He'd counter instantly, reminding Fulton who was in control. By round 7, the fight had a sense of inevitability. Inoue's combinations were flowing freely, his tempo increasing. Fulton's wide stance made it harder for him to move or react. Each jab to the body drew his guard lower, each feint froze him in place. And then, in round 8, the moment came. Inoue feinted to the body, then fired a monstrous right hand over the top. It landed flush. Fulton froze, his legs betraying him. The crowd gasped as the champion stumbled backward, eyes glassy. Inoue didn't hesitate. The predator had found his opening. He pounced with a flurry, left hook, right hand, left to the body, and uppercut upstairs. Fulton tried to hold, to grab the ropes, but Inoue's punches tore through his defense. A second right hand crashed home, and Fulton fell backward into the corner. The referee hovered, watching closely, but Inoue didn't let up. Another barrage followed, fast, brutal, and merciless. The monster unleashed combinations with both hands, every shot clean, every shot heavy. Fulton collapsed under the assault, his body folding to the canvas. The referee waved it off. The arena erupted. Naoya Inoue had done it again. In his first fight at 122 pounds, he didn't ease in with a tune-up fight. He went straight for the undefeated unified champion and demolished him. No controversy. No excuses. Just skill, speed, and pure violence. As Fulton sat in his corner, dazed but respectful, Inoue stood in the center of the ring, calm, expressionless, almost serene. The new unified champion. The 4-division world champion. The monster of Japan. The world watched in awe. The performance was perfection, a display of timing, power, and poise. He had taken apart one of boxing's slickest technicians and made it look effortless. Inoue's journey had begun years earlier, a quiet boy from Kanagawa with an obsession for precision. Every movement, every strike refined through endless repetition. His father trained him from childhood, molding a fighter who combined traditional fundamentals with frightening efficiency. The result was a generational talent, someone capable of carrying the weight of a nation while inspiring fear across divisions. Against Donaire, he had shown heart. Against Butler, control. Against Fulton, dominance. With each victory, he redefined the limits of the lower weight classes. In Tokyo that night, the message was clear. The throne at 122 pounds now belonged to him. As the replays rolled, analysts marveled at the technical brilliance behind the violence. The jab that set up everything. The feint to the body created the opening. The way he closed distance faster than his opponents could react. His balance never broke, and his timing never faltered. It was boxing distilled to its purest form. Fulton, gracious in defeat, admitted the obvious. "He's strong," he said quietly. "Faster than I thought." The whispers that once questioned Inoue's legitimacy were silenced. The accusations about hand wraps and the doubts about his size, all gone. He had crossed into a new division and conquered it in one night. Inoue now stood as one of the most complete fighters on the planet. A 4-division world champion. An undisputed bantamweight king. The unified ruler at super bantamweight. And yet, his ambitions remained unfulfilled. The talk began immediately. Would he move up again? Could he become a 5-division champion? At 126 pounds, new challenges awaited. But for now, the night belonged to him. Back in his dressing room, surrounded by his team, Inoue's expression softened for the first time. His father smiled, his trainers embraced, and the room filled with quiet pride. Outside, Tokyo still buzzed with the afterglow of greatness. Across the ocean, the boxing world watched the highlights, the jab, the timing, the knockout, and realized they had just witnessed something historic. The monster had chased history once more, and he had caught it. He had silenced doubt, conquered another champion, and elevated his legend into something beyond weight classes or borders. From the echoes of that first bell to the final count, there was no question left unanswered. Naoya Inoue was no longer just a phenomenon. He was proof that mastery could look like magic, that precision, discipline, and willpower could blend into art. He had entered as a challenger. He left as a conqueror. And as the crowd's cheers faded into memory, one truth remained clear. In this ring, greatness doesn't whisper. It roars.